Hello, Kiko. Thank you for meeting with me today. I will address your concern about how conclusions are made and how results will be shared. Kiko, I know it's your first psychological assessment. It's completely normal to feel uncertain. First, psychologicals need to follow strict ethical standards, including Standard 901, ensuring all conclusions are based on sufficient information and scientific method. Conclusions are drawn from through assessment using multiple sources such as questionnaire, interviews, and medical history. For example, the change you mentioned after husband passing provide important content for understanding your emotion and cognitive function. If limit information affects the reliability of conclusions, I will clearly explain this limitation to you. I will also write which finding require further information in the report. You also raised concern about sharing results. Under Ethical Standard 904, we must have your expensive concern before sharing anything. We will explain the purpose, implications, and any individual involved in sharing. Your privacy is fully protected, and we won't share information without your approval unless legally required. For example, if the translator makes you feel less in control of your information, we will make steps to address this concern. I would like to talk about two factors that might affect the results of your assessment: cultural background expectations and cross-cultural adjustment. You mentioned that you've been interacting less with your friends at the community. In my opinion, one of the potential reasons may be because in Japanese culture, many people avoid talking about the mental health problem because they don't want to burden others. This is especially true for elders. In this case, it may affect the valid that you feel you need to hide your feeling or avoid talking about your struggle in the test. Some assessment tools are designed in Western culture, so they assume that people will clearly and directly explain their problems. Because of your cultural background, you might prefer to answer in a more careful or modernist way, which could make the marks underestimate your true feeling and stress. I also understand that moving from Japan to Canada can bring many challenges. You may need to adjust to new social roles. Many assessment tools are made for the local people, assuming that they are familiar with the Canada culture and social norms. So they might not fully consider people like you who are adjusting to a new culture, which could affect how vivid and how well the results reflect your feeling and experiences. For example, you mentioned that after moving to Canada, you stopped working as an accountant. This life change may have caused feeling of loss or stress, but the assessment might not capture these unique experiences. This would make the mark show lower level of stress than you actually experiences. Kiko, thank you for participating in this test. Today, we are using a tool called WASS4 to better understand your cognitive abilities. WAIS4 measured four main areas of thinking. Let's first take a look at two areas where you did very well, and then we go through the two areas that are more challenging. So first, perceptual reasoning is how well you can notice the pattern and use the logic without needing words. For example, matching shapes. It's all about how your eyes and your brains working together. What's really great here is this is your strongest area. Your score is in the 82th percentile, meaning that your perceptual reasoning skills are better than 82 of people in the standard group. This shows that you are very good at observing and solving problems without needing words. Congratulations. In everyday life, you mentioned that sometimes you forgot to put your things, like your glasses. That's a common issue here, like many people experiences. Your high score here shows that the ability is still strong and hasn't significant decline. It's possible that recent concern, like a family history of Alzheimer's, have made you more aware about this small problem. But it doesn't mean that you have a serious cognitive problem. Then we turn to the working memory part. Well, working memory is like a sticky note in your brain. It helps you to remember and use the information for a short time, like keeping a phone number in your hand. Your score here is in the 70th percentile, meaning that you did better than 70% of people in the standard group. That's really strong. It shows that you're good at holding and using information to complete the text. You mentioned that it's fine for you to make the decision, which might be related to the emotion or the stress rather than the cognitive decline because you get a higher score in working memory here. So verbal comprehension is how well you understand and using the language. For example, it's about listening to a question and explain your thoughts clearly. Your score was in the 21st percentile. meaning that your performance was better than 21 of people in the standard group. This is a score we need to take care about. But I personally don't think it's not really a serious problem because you haven't mentioned any other signs in your daily life that suggest a decline in the verbal comprehension. Language could be the reason why you this part get a low score. Since you come from Japan, English is not your first language, so it doesn't mean that the ability is actually low. Sometimes emotions like stress or lack of confidence can also make this harder. Processing speed is how quickly you can do the simple tasks that require focus and quick reactions. Think of it as how fast your brain's car can drive. Your score here is also the 21st percentile, meaning that your performance is slightly below the average, which only higher than the 21% of people in the standard group, which this may indicate more difficult in the specific area. I think this is the most important problem we need to take a long time observation. For example, your son mentioned that making breakfast take longer. This could be connected to the processing speed, but it might also affect by thinking like mood, healthy, or joint pain. It's like temporary, not a sign of permanent change, I mean. So finally, we turn to the overall score, the full scale IQ. It's exactly the 50th percentile, meaning that the cognitive abilities are similar to about half of the people in the standard group. This is considered a normal range. It's important to remember that FSIQ is just one number and doesn't tell the full story. Kiko, your MMPI3 test results are ready. First, I want to tell you that your score on the validity scales are within the normal range. This means that you are honest in all answering the question. It also means that we can choose this result because they are very accurate to reflect how you are feeling right now. So we use the two types of scale. One is restructured clinical scale. This scale focuses more core emotion and behavior, such as the depression and the anxiety. They help us to see if certain emotion may be affecting your daily life. Another one is specific problem scale. This look at more specific issues like worry, confidence, or physical discomfort, giving us a deeper understanding of how this feeling affect you. In the test, we generally consider a T-score of 65 or above to be the clinical significant, meaning that when the score reaches 65, we need to pay more attention to this issue. And let's start with the somatic complements. These scales look at whether you might focus on the physical symptoms like pain or health worries. So your T-score here is 62, which is close to the level of clinical significance 65, but not something I need to say is not really when you care about. So your score suggests that you may experience some physical discomfort like joint pain, but this doesn't mean that it's a serious health issue. So then we moving to the scale of low positive emotions. This measures your ability to feel joy or satisfaction. So your score here is 76, which is the higher score in your test and above the clinical level. After your husband passed away, it may have been hard to find enjoyment in daily life. You mentioned feeling too tired to volunteer or connect with friends as you did before. This isn't your fault. Life change like losing a loved one can make it harder to feel positive emotion. Now, regarding low sense of efficiency, it assessed whether you have difficulty completing tasks. So the T-score here is 65, which is the right at the level where we need to pay more attention. It suggests that you might feel harder to concentrate or make decisions. You mentioned that tasks like preparing breakfast take longer than they used to do. So it may be cause a major life change. It just means that finally, let's discard the part of worry. So your score here is 70, which is also above the clinical level. This shows that you might feel anxious often, especially about the future or your health. You've mentioned concern about memory and your future health, and this makes sense, especially after losing a loved one and having a family history of Alzheimer's. After our conversation today, I feel that joining a weekly group therapy season could be the wonderful way to support you. Group therapy can be especially helpful for you in several ways. First, it can help you to feel less lonely by connecting you with others who understand and support you. You can also feel a sense of belonging in the group. Second, it offers a safe space to explore emotions at your own pace, especially if a cultural expectation is a limit to you. Lastly, as a new immigration to Canada, group therapy can help you to rebuild your confidence by providing an environment to practice your English and feel more connected to communicate.